magnificent cathedral of Albi. That's where we're heading to.
That's where we have quite a complicated little town. That's the Tarn River passing through it there. We're in the department of the Tarn, and these are the three leaders. Take your hat off to them. Terrific racing by all three riders here, and still they won't give up, and the peloton now almost can reach out and touch them. 10 seconds the gap. Boysenhagen's won previously 2 stages of the Tour de France, in Lisieux and Pinerolo in Italy, and now he could be the next candidate for a win here.
Well, that's what he would be hoping for. 10 seconds corresponds to 200 meters, the difference between the leading group of 3 and the main field. But you know, the main field will be starting to get hungry now. They're thinking about the victory. They're thinking about the charge to the line. As they get to 5 kilometers to go, very shortly they will start to go over the ring road around Albi. Then they'll head right into the heart of Albi and cross over the River Tarn at 2 kilometers to go.
But what a day it's been for the riders on Cannondale, Paul. The one man down, sadly Ted King, the first-time American in the Tour, eliminated by just 7 seconds in the team time trial. He was riding with a badly damaged shoulder, couldn't pull on the handlebars, and yet those 7 riders have dragged the Tour de France across the Tarn today and hopefully can deliver Sagan to the finish.
Well, when you're in a situation like this and you're heading into town, you have got in the back of your mind the hope that the main field has a little bit of confusion coming around one of these corners, and you can stretch that few seconds advantage a little bit further out. They're just around the corner, but these 3 riders will not lay down arms at all. They keep looking over their shoulders. They're looking to see the situation where the main field is, and it's still that lime green colour all over the front end of the yellow jersey pack.
It's painful to watch this. They're getting them back, but inch by inch, and 4.5 kilometers to go now to the finish. And Cyril Gauthier is the rider on the front in the Europe car colours. His team captain today, Thomas Vauclair, behind in the back group, which is now over 12 minutes behind, with Mark Cavendish and Andre Geipel as well.
Well, Cannondale have to say, a phenomenal job here this afternoon, Phil. We're looking at close to 110 kilometers on the front for the team from Italy. Although Cannondale being an American sponsor, Cannondale is nowadays owned by a Canadian group. But there's a little bit of a problem going around the corner there. They took a nasty little line, but now they've managed to straighten themselves up.
Well, they've got away. See, they virtually team time trialed away, and they got themselves confused, completely almost touched the back wheel of their own teammates. They've reorganized themselves, disrupted just a little bit. It's quite a tortuous approach across Albi here, because they seem to be rebuilding half the centre of the town. Those 3 riders will profit from that at least for a little while longer.
Well, that was just at the point where they went through the roadworks that we encountered last night, underneath the ring road around Albi. Now they've come into the Avenue Gambetta. They're inside of 4 kilometers to go. It's nice and straight now. There's only a couple of little kinks in the run-in towards the finish. And the main field, look at that mass of riders spread all over the road, as Bacalance will not lay down arms this afternoon. He still wants to keep hammering at the front, but now you can see a slightly different change coming forward. Different riders, different teams moving to the front of the pack, starting to feel that little bit hungry for a possible stage victory.
Well, it's got the riding style of Jens Voigt moving up on the right of our picture here. It looks as though he's trying to move up. Boysenhagen is still in a very good place. This is the catch, and it's going to come at 3 kilometers to go as they get to the banner. It's a virtual catch, but what a terrific ride by Jan Bekelund. There'll be more professional contracts pouring through his letterbox, I think, for next season. 3 kilometers to go, and the main part of the Tour de France is all together without the big sprinters, but there's still one here, and there's another one in Boysenhagen.
Yes, watch out for Boysenhagen. You can see him. There are 2 riders from Team Sky moving to the front end of this main field this afternoon. He's a fair way back, up into about 5th position is Peter Sagan. This is a slight left-hand sweeper at 2.5 kilometers to go. There's only one bend now. That's once they've crossed the River Tarn at 2 kilometers to go. There's a sweeping right-hand bend, and then it's a long straight boulevard of around about 1.5 kilometers to the line. And right at the end of that very long line, they will see the banner across the road.
Still Team Cannondale try to grit their teeth. It's been a very, very fast race. They've led it virtually all of the way for Peter Sagan. Can Sagan finish it off? We're heading to cross the Tarn River here that creates this beautiful gorge outside of Albi. Coming up to 2 kilometers to go, and the field are all queuing up now behind.
Well, they're just about to go over the Pont Vieux, the old bridge over the River Tarn. And there you can see it. It's a magical bridge that these riders will now know. There's 1.5 kilometers to go. 151 meters, the bridge supported by 8 magnificent arches, and the peloton is safely over.
Round the back of the cathedral, and I noticed the Polish rider Kwiatkowski moving right up in his white jersey. He has been sprinting very well as he's just tucked in behind the Amiga rider.
That is Sylvain Chavanel, his teammate, who's moved right up there to look after his teammate Kwiatkowski, as there's still Cannondale have control of the front end of the main field. Bosenhagen is moving up through the middle there. That's him in the dark blue jersey. They'll all be fighting for the wheel of Peter Sagan.
As one by one now the Cannondale boys swing off as the finishing line approaches. The last one will try to take Peter Sagan to the line, but what's left of the sprinters are trying to get onto Peter Sagan's wheel here. Under 1 kilometer to go. Moving
up into about 7th position is the blue jersey of Bosenhagen, but also in the mix there is the World Champions jersey of Philippe Gilbert. It is a good ride for him today, because let's not forget he's 31 years of age, and what a birthday present that would be. Stuck in the middle there in the green jersey though is Peter Sagan, just waiting for the moment to move.
As they try to go to the line here, now Sagan is finding himself in a little bit of a mess as they try for the sprint here. This is a very difficult sprint for Peter Sagan to move out of. He's still on a teammate's wheel, trying to find his way through the traffic, and he's through on the inside now. Sagan is on the inside, kind of coming forward. Now he's got the break. Now it should be a formality as he opens up for the line. The last teammate here. Sagan again is still being pushed away from this as Kwiatkowski starts to go, and Degenkolb on the right. And now Sagan comes. Degenkolb on the right. Sagan comes, and he comes over the top. Job done. Cannondale have had the most magical day in the Tour de France. They have done everything right, and he's finished it off.
Well, you cannot take anything away from Cannondale this afternoon. If any team deserved to win that here this afternoon, it was that team there, with a brilliant time performance by Peter Sagan coming out of the gap at the last possible moment. He stayed nice and calm there, almost got caught out by Degenkolb, the other spare sprinter for Team Argos Shimano, but what a move by Degenkolb.
Well, he's pointing to Cannondale, and that means his team in this case. They did so well for him today. My goodness me, they never came off the front since they split the field on the climb of the Col de la Croix de Muni. And that all happened 94 kilometers into a 200-kilometer race. What a brilliant day for that team.
Well, looks very much as if the Saxo Tinkoff rider who came across the line in 3rd place there were Daniele Bernati, followed up to the line. I tell you what, the young Polish rider Kwiatkowski did a great performance to come over the line in 4th, just edging out Edvald Bosenhagen.
So confirmation then, he's won by a good length when he got it right, and Degenkolb in 3rd place there at the moment, so in 2nd place rather on the photo finish. And Bernati, that's the first time we've seen Daniele Bernati push his way into the result, and he got 3rd. Meanwhile, out on course, the sprinters who tried so hard for a long way to repair the damage caused by the Col de la Croix de Muni, and as a result are still riding in, and I think will be for probably the next 13 or 14 minutes. Let's show you now the confirmation of the stage result. The transponders have all kicked in, and Peter Sagan wins today in almost 5 hours. His team led by 4 of them. Degenkolb gets his first crack at shooting for gold. Daniele Bernati, same for him. Chimolai got 4th in the end, and Edvald Bosenhagen probably will be a little bit disappointed with 5th, but he got a bit crowded on that finishing straight. Gavazzi 6th, Galopin 7th, Arthur Vichot, the champion of France, sprinted into 8th, and Sylvain Chavanel in 10th place. 12th place for the yellow jersey, Darrell Impey. The 0:00 of his time losses means he keeps yellow for South Africa and Orica Green Edge tonight, and goes into the Pyrenees now as the leader of the Tour de France.
Grazie Moreno.
I'm just watching that. He was speaking to his team in Italian. He speaks Italian pretty well. He says, thank you, thank you, thank you, great. As he got ushered away. Well, it was. I thought for a moment he'd blown this, but he came out of the pack, and once he was clear to sprint, he was so much faster than anybody else. Deckenkolb on the right kept coming. We'll be back with the podiums and the interviews after this. Well, as we look down here on the beautiful cathedral of Saint Cecile, that's the Tarn River on the right there. We are in Albi with the leaders and main pack, but hey, let's not forget the sprinters. 7 minutes gone by since Peter Sagan crossed the finishing line, and the sprinters who got close but not close enough out on the course. This includes the men who will not be surprised that Sagan won in their absence: Mark Cavendish, Marcel Kittel, and also André Greipel. And they're just happy to ride in now. Their teammates could not close the gap. There are 60 riders in this group as they make their way towards the finish. No big rush. Camera staying out with them as they bring them home today. Peter Sagan getting the result, and also, by the way, for Peter, his 14th win of the year. He's matching wheel for wheel the victories of Mark Cavendish, as they really are the two great sprinters of the world of cycling just at the moment. Difference with Sagan is he has this ability to climb the small hills, whereas Cavendish, who's on the front here in our picture, he didn't have it. Man in the yellow shoes is Marcus Burkhardt, the world time trial champion, coming through. Tony Martin, as they just continue to set the pace and switch through and off, as they call it. Rushing towards the end. They're still about 5 minutes out here, at least, from the finishing line. Well, 5 kilometres ago, I would say they're about 7 minutes at the speed they're doing now. So they're going to come in nearly quarter of an hour down today, this group. That's okay. It's a 5-hour race, so they won't be eliminated or any danger of that. And as they continue to come in, let's have a look along the route bringing us towards the finish today. It all started with the expecting attack at some stage or other of Jens Voigt, who got away with Blel Kadri. And then came the attack of the day, which almost stole the yellow jersey. Jan Bakkeland's getting away on the climb of the Côte de la Cantaine, 56 kilometres out, and it looked for a while that they were going to make it. But the boys in Lime Green had other plans today. They were helped a little bit by the riders on Orica Green Edge, but I think Orica Green Edge are rather pleased that the chase was on there. Then it was thanks for all your attempts, boys, but it's not going to work today, says André Greipel to his team. So they stopped racing and decided to save their energy, because the sprinters won't like the stage tomorrow in the mountains. The catch came just 3 kilometres from the finish. They were all together, and Peter Sagan was still expecting the most from his team, and for a while it looked as though he might have got himself in a little spot of bother here, trapped in the centre of the peloton as the rush came. Even the yellow jersey there of Daryl Impey, who was assured now of yellow because they're all finishing in the same time, he just backed off, getting mixed up in the sprint as Sagan finally saw his way through. But that late rush by the man in white, John Degenkolb, the number 2 sprinter this year on the Argus Shimano, but could well be number 1 next year. He went for it, saw his chance. Sagan said, hang on, we've done all the work all day. I'm supposed to win the stage. And that's exactly what happened. So for him, it's his 56th win in his career. He's still, and I can never believe this when I tell you, 23 years of age. And it's his 14th win of this season. He's been winning bike races since February this year. Says bueno grazie to his team, and heads off to the podium, where we hopefully will see him very shortly. Meanwhile, back down the road, 10 minutes 45 seconds has passed. Marcus Burkhardt bringing home what we always call the autobus. That's where you go and grab a ride when your racing for the day is done. 3 kilometres out, just where they caught that breakaway of 3 today. Mark Cavendish come to the front. Looking forward to a shower today. A couple of days ago in Marseille, he was celebrating a victory. Now he's just got to get home to live to fight another day. And for a few days now, Mark is going to be taking a back seat, being more worried about the elimination time than winning stages. Interesting to see the big turn by Marquez broke him away from the field. This is warmed down, Richie Porte, and on the left Chris Froome, being watched by Sir Dave Brailsford, the manager of the team, Sky. After having ridden 205 kilometres, they still need to warm down slowly before they head off to the hotel. This is Burkhardt coming up the home straight. Well, while we're watching these finish and Mark Cavendish going, let's go back up to Todd Harris and tell us a little bit about prime time tonight, Todd.
Thank you very much, Phil. What an exciting finish here in Albi tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on NBCSN. We'll have Tour Prime Time. We'll preview tomorrow's stage number 8, our first look at a mountain stage. Plus, we will have all the in-depth interviews that you guys are not able to get into the show because I was just down in that mixed zone area, Phil, and it is madness as our reporters, Carolyn Mano and Steve Schlanger, are scrambling to get the best interviews. We will get all those on tonight, Tour Prime Time. Plus, of course, what would Tour Prime Time be without Ask Bobkey, presented by Head Sweats? But a great day here. It is extremely hot, Phil and Paul, as you know, but a great finish here in Albi for Peter Sagan.
Yes, it was. And finally, 7 days into the Tour de France, we thought we would be calling him winning before then. But not only has he won, let's not forget, he has taken a very commanding lead now in the green jersey competition. It's certainly set to stay on his shoulders with the lead he got today. Almost 70 points picked up today. So he's well in the lead in that competition. So whatever happens, he's going to ride for at least a week in green now before the boys can get at him again. Here they come. Anybody going to sprint? Being invited to attack for the line? Nobody really bothered. 13 minutes has gone by. By the way, while we're watching these pictures, let me remind you that we are on NBC tomorrow with our coverage, and our prime time show, as Todd has told us, on NBCSN. So make sure you watch us on NBC tomorrow. Saturday in the Pyrenees, first big challenge for the favourites of this year's Tour de France. Mark Cavendish goes to the Pyrenees, 1 win under his belt. Tony Martin, the World Time Trial champion, brings them through under that last kilometre of 205.5 kilometres a day. I never understand how they manage to measure the distance to a half kilometre, but they seem to. Marcus Burkhardt swings off. There'll be no sprint here. It's only time that counts, and they've all lost 14 minutes today. Probably a little bit more by the time we get over the line. And they can't start the presentations, you see, till the traffic's off the road, and this traffic is blocking the presentations. Everybody watching and waiting, including a rather nice crowd here in Albi. You can probably hear the voice of the great French speaker Daniel Manjas, who's already has an absolute encyclopedic mind. He hardly has a note in front as he reels off the riders' performances. Up they come towards the finish. Tony Martin bringing them home. They will know already Sagan is the winner because the team cars will have told them in their little earpieces. That'll be no surprise to Greipel, Kittel or Cavendish. Oh, they're over the line now.